In today's Retro Tech Repair, we're going to be repairing and restoring this Tomy Demon driver that I bought spares or repair on eBay. So right to it, as I say, it was bought as not working. Looks like it's got the screws in. I've never used one of these. First thing I think to do though is to put some batteries in and see if the not working is actually accurate. I mean, I have found with some of these things that because batteries can be quite expensive, sometimes people just sell them as untested, and they genuinely are untested. But this one actually looks like it's been apart. There's a screw missing here, so I don't expect a lot of good luck with this, but we'll try it anyhow. I'll pop those batteries in. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, something like that maybe. Yeah, so this is falling apart in my hand, so clearly it's seen some action. Let's turn it on anyway. Okay, well, it does seem to move when you press start or reset. I'm not quite sure how this game's supposed to work, but I'm bumping into things. Oh, okay. All right. Well, okay, it might be working better than I thought. I guess you can't go between them. So you have to go across. Oh dear. Go across. If you get two that line up like that, then I don't know what you're supposed to. Oh, no, it stopped. Right. So let's take this steering wheel off. I'm guessing we need to get this out of the way to get inside and see what's going on. Okay, so there are no screws in there holding it together at all. And then inside, really everything looks to be doing what it's supposed to be doing. We have some kind of controller here. Looks like just an electrical switch there. Doesn't seem to have any kind of on and off switch. I'm really not familiar with this. I think I might need to read some instructions and see if I can do something else to figure it out. So let's put some batteries in and follow those instructions. Oh, it's already going. Oh, it's not already going because I turned it over and the batteries fell out. So it's actually quite a few months since I filmed the original repair for this, and when I came to play the video back I discovered that in fact there was quite a lot of clipping on the audio. So I'm going to have to record some voiceover to cover some of that up. So let's talk about the instructions for use for our Demon driver. The object of Demon Driver Auto Raceway is to race as far as you can. Turn lap counter to 0, shift to 1. Press start until timer reaches S, then release. Steer your racer around other cars, go faster by shifting into 2 or 3. If you crash, alarm flashes and all cars stop. Press reset and drive away from the crash. Lap counter shows how far you've raced. Don't crash, it will lower your score. Okay, we're off. Oh dear, I've crashed already. Press start. Oh, I've crashed again. All right. Oh, and again. Oh, I'm terrible at this. Change. Oh. So eventually, with a little bit of practice, I did get a bit better at this. And then this happened. Hey, F, finish. Yay, and let's look at what my score is. It's 0. So it looks like that is the problem with our untested Demon Driver Auto Raceway. The lap counter doesn't work. Let's get it repaired. And the first thing we need to do is we need to take our wheel back off. And because I'm not called Paul, this is just irritating me to the point that I'm going to have to peel it off. So I'm sure Paul was very proud of this once in his life. Oh dear. Stuck. Yeah, Paul still owns it. This side. There you go, Paul. Thanks very much. And off we come with the lid. Okay, I'll pop that somewhere safe. Won't really need that for a while. Okay, so it's a mechanical game with this big kind of gearbox assembly here, this gear change. Oops. This plastic start button. This gear change, which I'm guessing is working something underneath here. I can probably have a quick look. What's going on underneath there? It's really sloppy, so I'm probably going to tighten this up. Yep, that's moving up and down these pink gears. Apart from the fact it feels a little bit loose, probably due to the relaxation of these gear changes here. I feel like it would be nice to, put a little rubber band or something around that. But in the meantime, since it ain't broke, I'm not going to try and fix it. Let's just tighten that up here. There we go. Maybe if we put a little bit of pressure on there, it'll feel a little more purposeful. No, it's still pretty sloppy. So here is our counter. You can see that it looks to be driven by a gear. So there is a gear here. When I press my magic fast forward button, or reset, as the game manufacturers would like me to call it, reset, it pushes this piece out of the way. So it like lifts that piece up. You see that? Just lifts this wheel up here so that it no longer engages with the lap counter. Okay, so that's the purpose of that, is to just lift this up so it no longer engages with the lap counter. The problem is that it seems that the lap counter isn't turning even when the game is running. And it looks to be like this gear here is the one that's driving it. So if I pop some batteries in this again, and every time I put batteries in it, it goes. That's a little bit frustrating, but that's the way it is. Of course, just for fun, it's not going to do that. Then what we'll find is, I think that the motor here, it looks a little cockeyed, but in fact it's actually supposed to be that way at that angle. It's driving this cog. As we see that, the motor's driving this cog here. And that cog in turn is driving these belts, and I guess however this gearbox is configured, it's kind of stuck now, interestingly. It drives these two kind of transparent belts, and there's one LED behind this plastic explosion looking thing, and then this thing that moves back and forth on this gear as I turn this wheel. But this gear here, this rod here, is coming right across and driving this cog, and this cog then is turning our lap counter, but in fact it's not turning our lap counter, and I don't really know why, whether it's just a bit stiff. It certainly feels stiff, like it's stuck, but why it would be stuck, I don't know. It came out okay. It's the same size screw as the others, and we'll see if we can lift this mechanism out here and see what's going on. Oh, this is a lot of fun, trying to get all this out. Nope. Boy, I think we have to lift the whole kind of Raceway mechanism out, which, to be honest, I really didn't want to do. Let's see if that will come now. Oh boy. Okay, good. Just pop this aside a second. Let's take a look at this, which is our counter mechanism here, and this seems to be working fine. As I turn it here, it resets as we would want to. The wheels turn independently. As I turn this, as it goes to 9, it goes to the next one, 2, 3. So this is working just as you would hope. The wheels here, as I look at them, do not seem to be particularly damaged. So I think this is doing what it needs to do. It probably wouldn't hurt to get a little bit of lubrication on it. But in terms of functionality, I feel like this is working. So this repair, like many of the repairs that I do, actually took several hours, and I have to edit that video footage down to just a few minutes in order to make it more consumable. A lot of the raw footage, therefore, is me just waffling on, and this was an example of that, so I thought I'd record a little bit of voiceover to save you having to suffer it. Now, let's rejoin the repair as I start to figure out what's going on. So there are 3 gears here driving 3 different parts. Okay, so we have this one, which drives like the dotted line down the middle. And we have this one, which is driving the outer lane. And then we have this one here, which is driving the middle lane. And they're all kind of connected together to this central one here. And as we move back and forwards, it determines which ones are engaged. But the counter, our score counter on the center line, seems to be always engaged. This is the drive wheel that drives it's a little drive cog that drives the scoreboard, which wasn't working. And really, you really do need that scoreboard to work to play the game because it's kind of fundamental. And when I look at this a bit closer, and I'm struggling to show this to you, but there's a tiny little crack. I'm not sure that's going to focus, but there's a tiny little crack in this wheel here, which means that it won't tighten onto the spindle. And I had thought about kind of gluing this back together or something like that, and that might still be an option. What I was able to do was order a bag of cogs from cogs and nylon wheels from Amazon. In fact, there is 2 consolidated into there, and in that there are a couple of nylon cogs that look like they're pretty close to the one that failed. The one that failed is the yellower one here. So I think I'm going to try and use one of these. So I did try and use the smaller cogs from the kit of cogs that I'd bought from Amazon, but unfortunately it had a different number of teeth to the one that was originally on the game, so I needed to find an alternative solution. And the solution that I decided to try was to take the original cog from the game, not the one from the Amazon parts that I had bought, and then to squeeze it together and try and melt it in place to repair that crack. Just to try and hold this together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze it on its hub at the point where the crack is and close that crack. Keep that crack taut together. I'm going to take my soldering iron. Whilst I'm doing that, I'm just going to try and melt that portion together there. Well, needless to say, that didn't work, but what I was able to do was to find in the kit of parts that I'd bought from Amazon a kind of combo gear with a smaller cog and a larger cog that in fact did have the correct number of teeth, although the internal diameter was perhaps a little bit too small to go onto the shaft of the game. Well, that's the most promising yet. But it's still not going on, huh? So I'm going to use this now just to try and just widen the opening a little bit here. Oh, if only that would go on. I feel that would really solve our problem. Right, again, I've definitely removed material from it. And we're just going to carry on doing this now until I get these 2 to go together. And in fact, I think that was it. I think that's it. Goes in first, and then this goes in. That's it. Oh, look at that. It's just constructing the battery compartment there. Alright, that's a shame, but never mind, we can deal with it, I think. What's happening, this extra material here is contracting the battery compartment. Of course, it was just a small cog before, and now it's just got this extra piece on, so I'm going to try and cut that off. Well, it's not pretty. But again, I don't think it needs to be pretty, I just think it needs to be functional. And I believe it is. So as I reassemble our Demon Driver game, I'd just like to thank you so much for watching the video today. If you're enjoying the video, or if you're not, please leave a comment in the comments section below. I read all of your feedback, it's very important to me, and I respond to just as many of the comments as I can. Some of the footage for this video was filmed quite a long time ago, and some of my tools and techniques have improved quite considerably, I think, since I originally filmed this video. So if you are enjoying the video today, maybe check out some of my other videos, and if you're really enjoying it, consider hitting subscribe. For now, however, let's return to our repair. Alright, well I think it's ready for us to try. I don't know how well it's going to work, or indeed if it's going to work at all for that matter. It's certainly ready for us to try. Instructions say reset the lap counter. So we'll do that, reset the lap counter to 0, and press start until you get to S, and then the race begins. So let's do that. We're not at S yet. When we get to S, it kind of carries on, I think. Alright, now we're going. Oh, crash. Use the gear change to work until there's a gap between cars and then take the gap. Yay! 74 laps! Excellent! Well, that's working. Amazing though it is that we got this far, I'm going to clean this up now, finish the reassembly, and we're going to call this done. I'm really, really, really pleased to have that done. I hope you'll agree that's quite nice now. And of course it works, which it didn't before, so big plus. So it's been an interesting little repair today. Thanks for sticking with the video for this long. And until next time, I'd just like to thank you so much for watching Retro Tech Repair.